Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Rama, Rama. Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Jagannath, Jaya Swami Shiva Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnu Paramahansa Parabrajacharya Satara Shri Srimati Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Premsika Ho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Kiri Govardhan ki jai. Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Mayapur Dham ki jai. Jagannathpuri Dham ki jai. Gangamani ki jai. Jamuna Mani ki jai. Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shrimati Tulsi Maharani ki jai. Lord Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Devi ki jai, Shri Shri Gauri Nitai ki jai, Lord Nrsimhadev ki jai, Shri Shalakam Shilas ki jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Samalek Bhaktavinda ki jai, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shri Shri Guru and Guru.
हाँ करना पड़ेगा ना टाइम तो करो करो
Chance, somebody chant. I can't chant.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Gala Jala Satarine. Gala Jala Satarine. Namaste नरसिंहदेव भगवान की जय, भक्त प्रहलाद की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय।
Bihar. Kirana Ballabha Girivardhari Yamunatira Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Jai Bora, Hare Bol. We're reading from the 6th chapter, 643, I believe. '43. Page 355 in my book. I don't know if it's the same. It's a different book. So we could just do the word for word. I mean, one word at a time, not word for word. But Tatra Tam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Cha Tato Bhuyaha Samsid Kuru Nandana Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Chatato Bhuya Samsido Kuru Nandana Tatam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Cha Tato Bhuya Samsido Kuru Nandana Tatratam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Cha Tato Bhuya Samsido Kuru Nandana. Chant. Jiva. Tatratam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Cha Tato Bhuya Samsido Kuru Nandana. Tatratam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Cha Tato Bhuya Samsido Kuru Nandana. Janak?
Tatratam Buddhi Samyogam.
Oh, Tatratam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Cha Tato Bhuya Samsido Kuru Nandana. Tatratam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Purva Dehikam Yatate Cha Tato Bhuya Samsido Kuru Nandana. And does anyone online chant? And if they do, I don't know how we're going to hear it. Buddhi Samyogam
Labate Purva Dehikam
Labate Purva Dehikam
Yatate Cha Tato Bhuyaha
Yatate Cha Tato Bhuya
Siddhau Kuru Nandana.
Samsido Kuru Nandana. Sounds pretty loud. No, it's okay. It's not too loud. It sounds louder than us, though. Is that it? No one else? So we'll do the word for word from Sanskrit to English translation. Tatra, thereupon. Tam, that. Buddhi Samyogam, revival of consciousness. Labate, gains. Purva dehikam, from the previous body. Yatate, he endeavors. Cha, also. Tata, thereafter. Bhuyaha, again. Samsido, for perfection. Kurunandana, O son of Kuru. Translation. Taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life, and he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. Purport. King Bharat, who took his third birth in the family of a good Brahmana, is an example of good birth for the revival of previous transcendental consciousness. King Bharat was the emperor of the world, and since his time, this planet has been known among the demigods as Bharatvarsha. Formerly, it was known as Ilavrata Varsha. The emperor, at an early age, retired for spiritual perfection, but failed to achieve success. In his next life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as Jad Bharat because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. And later on, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugana. From his life, it is understood that transcendental endeavors or the practice of yoga never go in vain. By the grace of the Lord, the transcendentalist gets repeated opportunities for complete perfection in Krishna consciousness. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. And he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kuru. So I'm just going to read the translation for the last two verses. The unsuccessful yogi, after many, many years of enjoyment on the planets of the pious living entities, is born into a family of righteous people or into a family of rich aristocracy. So first you enjoy, then you get born in a righteous family, religious family, or in a very rich family. Now, you might think, what's so good about a rich family? The advantage is you can think about other things. You don't have to just struggle for existence and how to make money so that you can survive. You don't have to think about that at all. You can think about higher things. Then the next verse, or if unsuccessful after long practice of yoga, he takes his birth in a family of transcendentalists who are surely great in wisdom. Certainly such a birth is rare in this world. This is, like Prabhupada explains, I don't know if he explains in this purport, but he says how he was born in such a family of devotees, which was rare. On taking such a birth, he revives the divine consciousness of his previous life. And he again tries to make further progress in order to achieve complete success, O son of Kunti. So Prabhupada in his purport now, he's talking about you're a devotee, you don't complete the process, what happens? You got different choices, but you're not the loser. One is you can go to heavenly planets, and even in the heavenly planets, you can be a devotee in the heavenly planet. I mean, Indra, he seems like, I don't want to be offensive, but a really big sense gratifier, but he's a devotee. But he's not just a devotee. He's a devotee who tried to kill Krishna and his calves and cows. And he's still a devotee. So, and he's the king of the heavenly planets. So you can go and you can enjoy, but you can also be a devotee. And then there are other planets. It doesn't say here, where they're pretty much all devotees, where they just worship, right? Jiva, in the, we're reading in Bhagavatamrita, I think it was. Prihad Bhagavatamrita, where they go there, going to high planets, not the Brahmaloka, but almost Brahmaloka, a few planets down from there. And they all just meditate on Narayan. They're not impersonalists. They're devotees. To me, it seems like really austere. When I was reading, it seems like, wow, I don't think I could do that. I mean, certainly could play with Krishna, that I could do, but these other things. But maybe that's the way they worship Narayan, with just awe and reverence. But so there, those, I don't know how you die here and go to those planets. I don't know. It does say heavenly planets where you can enjoy, but you can go to those other planets. It's not much sense enjoyment, although you're enjoying because you're Krishna conscious. You don't need anything else. It's a question of your consciousness. But this is the greatest birth, is to be born in a family of devotees. And Prabhupada gives the example of King Bharat. Bharatvarsha, I like the way Prabhupada says, the demigods call this planet Bharatvarsha. In other words, there are people in India who may call it Bharatvarsha, but most people call it the planet Earth. I don't know where they get that name from, but it was, and before that is Ilavrata-varsha. Before it was Bharatvarsha, because he was such a great king. He was such a great king. He had a beautiful wife, or maybe wives, I don't know, but beautiful wives, children, everything. The king of the world, not just the king of, or not even, we have the most you have is the president of the greatest country, and their estimation of the greatest country is all simply external material. That's it, what you have, material sense gratification. So right now, most people think America still is the greatest country. Years ago, it was much better. I can see how it would be a great country. People were more spiritual too. But anyways, amongst the fools, they think America is the greatest. So you can become the president of America. It's the biggest position you can get on this planet. And it's a pretty, powerful, wonderful position in a sense, materially speaking. But now you have, and it's only for 8 years at the most. So what is that compared to being the king? He's not the king. The president can't just do anything he wants to do. We're seeing that this guy now wants to spend so much money, and a lot of people are against it. So he's having a hard time to do what he wants to do. But the king can do whatever he wants. And the king is above the rules. He can even break the rules if he wants. And he was a king, and he was a pious king. He wasn't a king just trying to enjoy sense gratification. Kingdom was flourishing because he was pious. He would punish rogues and thieves, and he would give to the poor, to the Brahmins. He was a pious king. But he saw, even though he's a king in the world and he's engaged in spiritual activity, in a sense, managing it spiritually, he gave that up. That's a big thing to give up. That's hard to give up. I mean, what do you have to give up? The less you have, the easier it is to give it up. Although Prabhupada has said that you can be a pauper and attached to your penny. So you could be attached, but it's usually easier to give up a penny than millions of dollars, because they can get a penny easier, or billions of dollars. We have several billionaires, I don't know where it was. Well, where did I look? I saw it just recently. The different richest person, I don't even think, I didn't even know who he was. Never heard of him. Huh? I don't know, what does he do? If you tell me, I still don't remember his name.
Anyway, I don't remember his name, but I just saw the different rich people, how many billions they have, and the guy who's on top. I looked him up and I found out a lot about him. I forgot it all already, but it was like, so he's so wealthy. Imagine him trying to give up all that. How hard that would be. We even did a play. We used to do a play out in the street when we were on Harinam. On Harinam, and the devotees are chanting. And then there's this one devotee who pretends he has this big, huge boulder and he's carrying it. And he sees the devotees, and there's like this, pretending there's a river, and you have to come. He wants to come over to the devotees, but you have to give up that rock. That rock is all your attachments and your sense. He says, I can't give up this rock. This was given to me by my father and by his father. This has been, I inherited this. I'm not going to just give this up. And he goes away. And then somebody else comes, and he has just like a little stone. And he wants to come over to chant them. He says, you have to give up that stone. And he looks at the stone, he looks at the devotees, and then he just throws the stone away and Hare Krishna. We did that in Boston on the Boston Commons. And then someone would explain what it was. If you have so many material attachments, it's hard to give it up. If you don't have much, it's easier. But he had the most material attached, not attachments, but what he could have been attached. He had the whole world, and he could have done what he wanted. But he decided he's going to give it all up. Someone else be the king, someone else run the whole country, and go to the forest, not just get some condos somewhere and just live off some millions of dollars and live simple, maybe not millions. Just he went to the forest with nothing. It's not like he went to the forest and he brought his backpack or donkey with all his food and everything. He just had nothing. He just learned to live simply in the forest. And then he's living like that, and he's meditating on Krishna every day. He's in this meditation. But when there was a deer who's been chased by a lion or tiger, probably a tiger in the forest, but it may say lion. And then when the deer jumped over like the stream to get away from the tiger, a baby fell out from the mother. She gave birth to the baby deer. I don't think it explains why the tiger or lion didn't eat the baby, because they usually go after babies first. But somehow Bart Maharaj was there and took this baby deer. The baby would just die, so he took care of it. He fed it, and then of course, any baby who's just born, pretty much any baby that I know, maybe I don't know about wild lions and tigers, but if you take care of them, you're like their mother. They think that way. There was my grandmother. It's kind of a horrible story, but in Pennsylvania, some dog had puppies, just had puppies, and they don't want to deal with the puppies. It's family. So they were put them in a bag with some rocks and throwing them into the river. Common thing many years ago. I don't know how common. It wasn't so common from where I grew up, but in any case, in Pennsylvania, poor people, they did. So my grandmother said, I'll give me one. She just took one, like a baby, just a day old puppy. And she took it. And that puppy was like so attached to my grandmother for, until it died, because that's all it knew. So babies, they don't know anything else. They just know you. So they really get attached. So the deer was attached, but not only the deer was attached, worse than that, he became attached to the deer. Now he had so many opportunities to become attached to so many things. He was able to give them up. Somehow out in the woods, he became attached to this deer in the sense that even when he was meditating, he'd be thinking about the deer. You know, we chant japa. That's our meditation. We think about a lot of things, you know, and when we realize we are, then we have to get back to hearing the japa. But he would think about this deer. And then one time the deer was gone and he didn't know what happened to it. So he went looking for the deer and he actually fell off a cliff and he died. And in his next life, what do you think happened? He got the body of a deer, but because he was very advanced, he remembered everything from his previous life. So he would stay in the forest where the saintly people were, saintly devotees, and he would listen to them speaking about Krishna Katha. And then he would eat whatever after they ate, they'd have something on their plate. He would eat it. Whatever it was, he would eat all the remnants they had, whatever he could eat. And of course, he waited for them to finish. And then after a life like that, his next life, he was born in a very advanced Brahmin family. But and he still remembered his past two lives. He remembered the life of the deer. He remembered the life when he was the emperor of the world, and he gave it up and he got attached to a deer. So in this life, he decided he's not going to get attached to anything. He just acted like a dumb man. They tried to teach him to eat with his right hand. He'd eat with his left hand. He just didn't want to get involved. He didn't want his parents to push him to get married. He didn't want any material thing. He just wanted to exist long enough and just keep thinking about Krishna. That's all he wanted to do because he didn't want to blow it again. And in here, it says he retired for spiritual perfection, but failed to achieve success. Here it says in his next life, it wasn't the direct next life, but the next human life, he took birth in the family of a good Brahmana and was known as Jad Bharat because he always remained secluded and did not talk to anyone. He didn't want to get involved. He knew, if I just for this whole life, don't talk to anyone, don't have anything to do with anyone, just remember Krishna, that's it. And later on, he was discovered by the greatest transcendentalist, he was discovered as the greatest transcendentalist by King Rahugana. Wasn't it Jad Bharat who they tried to kill? They had a useless person, the Kali worshippers. They worshiping goddess Kali, and they wanted to offer a useless human, and they couldn't find anyone more useless than Jad Bharat. He was like, I think he was out in the, keeping the birds from going on the crops like a scarecrow or something. He wasn't doing much of anything, but he just did anything, whatever they wanted. But he showed he was incapable of doing very much. So they found him and they decided this is a perfect useless person that we can kill as an offering to Goddess Kali. She'll be very pleased. So Jad Bharat thought, this is what Krishna has in mind. That's fine with me. Normally something like that happens. Even when you're playing like a dumb guy, you stop it. He didn't care. He was going to be offered to Goddess Kali, his body, because he knew he wasn't his body. I mean, this is a super great transcendentalist. And so they did all their things. They washed him. They did everything. And he just cooperated with them, let them do what they want. And when they were about to kill him, Goddess Kali, like here, these are the deities. Now, these deities are not different from these forms, but the demigods are different from their forms because the form broke open. and she came out, and also others, witches came out. So there was like I guess a way to get there, and they had this sword or this thing to chop off to Jud Bhart's head. She used that to chop them up. She killed them. They cut off all their heads. They drank their blood. It was like a big feast. And Jud Bhart, nothing happened to him because he was a great devotee. Goddess Kali was just so upset with these what would you call those people? What? Dacoits. Maybe dacoits. They were bad people. And so then he's, because he's useless, this king had 4 people carrying him. And he's very strong. Jud Bhart was very strong. And they saw this guy, they figured this is a job anybody can do. So they one of the people, I don't know what happened to him. He got a splinter. I don't know what happened, but he couldn't carry it. So they only had 3. So then they got Jud Bhart. And Jud Bhart's walking, but he's not stepping on the ants because he doesn't want to kill an ant. So he's carrying it and he's walking, going here and there. And I really wish I had the story. I don't remember exact conversation between King Rahugana and Jud Bhart, but it's really good. If somebody could find it, I don't know if you could find it on the phone, so while he's walking, this is happening, and the king is really upset because it's not a very smooth ride. It's like riding in a car without shocks. It's just really bumpy and going here and there. So he got upset, and he got out to talk to Jud Bhart, and then for the first time in Jud Bhart's life, he actually started to speak the highest philosophy. And these other 3 people carrying the palanquin, they're thinking, I'm assuming they're thinking, oh boy, this guy is going to be in big trouble. The king got out. He's so mad at him. But then after he speaks to the king, you found it? I don't know how long it is, but I'll read the verses. What?
5th canto, 12th chapter.
Conversation, but this is just a summary. Well, it's a long summary. Maybe I should just read that. I don't know if the summary tells it. So I'm not sure where this starts because it starts with King Rahugana said, "O most exalted personality, you are not different from the supreme." No, this is not it. This is afterwards. Must be the previous chapter. Yeah. Because the first verse that I've come to was King Rahugana is talking that you're like to the supreme personality of Godhead.
The discussion between Jud Bharat and Maharaj, chapter 10.
That's the one before that one, or the same one? 2 before. Okay. Let's see. I don't know how much time there is. What?
5.10, 1, 2. 1 and 2. So 10th chapter, the first and second verse.
That's all, first and second only?
That's what
someone said. Okay. Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, after this, King Rahugana, ruler of the states known as Sindhu and Sovira, was going to Kalpilasrama ashrama. When the king's chief palanquin carrier reached the banks of the river Ikshukmati, they needed another carrier. Therefore, they began searching for someone, and by chance they came upon Jud Bhart. They considered the fact that Jud Bhart was very strong and was very young and strong and had firm limbs. Like cows and asses, he was quite fit to carry loads. Thinking in this way, although the great soul, Judd Bart, was unfit for such work, they nonetheless unhesitatingly forced him to carry the pelican. The pelican, however, was very erratically carried by Judd Bart due to his sense of nonviolence. As he stepped forward, he checked before him every 3 feet to see whether he was about to step on ants. Consequently, he could not keep pace with the other carriers. Due to this, the pelican was shaking, and King Rahugana immediately asked the carriers, "Why are you carrying this pelican unevenly? Better carry it properly." When the pelican carriers heard the threatening words of Maharaj Rahugana, they became very afraid of his punishment and began to speak to him as follows. "O Lord, please note that we are not at all negligent in discharging our duties. We have been faithfully carrying this pelican according to your desire. But this man who has been recently engaged to work with us cannot walk very swiftly. Therefore, we are not able to carry the pelican with him." King Rahugana could understand the speeches given by the carriers who were afraid of being punished. He could also understand that simply due to the fault of one person, the pelican was not being carried properly. Knowing this perfectly well and hearing their appeal, he became a little angry, although he was very advanced in political science and was very experienced. His anger arose due to his inborn nature as a king. Actually, King Rahugana's mind was covered by the mode of passion, and he therefore spoke as follows, because a Kshatriya is generally in the mode of passion, to Judd Bart, whose Brahman effulgence was not clearly visible, being covered like a fire covered by ashes. King Rahugana told Judd Bart, "How troublesome this is, my dear brother. You certainly appear very fatigued because you have carried this pelican alone without assistance for a long time and for a long distance. Besides that, due to your old age, you have become greatly troubled. My dear friend, I see that you are not very firm nor very strong and stout. Aren't your fellow carriers cooperating with you?" So at this time, I don't know how many thousands of years ago, they had sarcasm. India has since lost it, but they had it at one time. In this way, the king criticized Judd Bart with sarcastic words. I didn't know I was going to say that. Yet, despite being criticized in this way, Judd Bart had no bodily conception of the situation. He knew that he was not the body, for he had attained his spiritual identity. He was neither fat, lean, nor thin, nor had anything to do with a lump of matter, a combination of the 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. He had nothing to do with the material body and its 2 hands and legs. In other words, he had completely realized his spiritual identity. He was therefore unaffected by this sarcastic criticism from the king. Without saying anything, he continued carrying the pelican as before. Therefore, when the king saw that his pelican was still being shaken by the carriers, he became very angry and said, "You rascal, what are you doing? Are you dead despite the life within your body? Do you not know that I am your master? You are disregarding me and not carrying out my order. For this disobedience, I shall now punish you, just as Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, punishes sinful people. I shall give you proper treatment so that you will come to your senses and do the correct thing." Thinking himself a king, King Rahugana was in the bodily conception and was influenced by material nature's modes of passion and ignorance. Due to madness, he chastised Jud Bharat with uncalled for and contradictory words. Jud Bharat was a topmost devotee and the dear abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Although considering himself very learned, the king did not know about the position of an advanced devotee situated in devotional service, nor did he know his characteristics. Jud Bharat was the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He always carried the form of the Lord within his heart. He was the dear friend of all living beings, and he did not entertain any bodily conception. He therefore smiled and spoke the following words. The great Brahmana Jud Bharat said, "My dear king and hero, whatever you have spoken sarcastically is certainly true. Actually, these are not simple words of chastisement, for the body is the carrier. The load carried by the body does not belong to me, for I am the spirit soul. There is no contradiction in your statements because I am different from the body. I am not the carrier of the palanquin. The body is the carrier. Certainly, as you have hinted, I have not labored carrying the palanquin, for I am detached from the body. You have said that I am not stout and strong, and these words are befitting a person who does not know the distinction between the body and the soul. The body may be fat or thin, but no learned man would say such things of the spirit soul. As far as the spirit soul is concerned, I am neither fat nor skinny. Therefore, you are correct when you say that I am not very stout. Also, if the object of this journey and the path leading there were mine, there would be many troubles for me. But because they relate not to me, but to my body, there is no trouble at all. Fatness, thinness, bodily and mental distress, thirst, hunger, fear, disagreement, desires for material happiness, old age, sleep, attachment for material possessions, anger, lamentation, illusion, and identification of the body with the self are all transformations of the material covering of the spirit soul. A person absorbed in the material bodily conception is affected by these things, but I am free from all bodily conceptions. Consequently, I am neither fat nor skinny nor anything else you have mentioned. My dear king, you have unnecessarily accused me of being dead, though alive. In this regard, I can only say that this is the case everywhere, because everything material has its beginning and end. As far as your thinking that you are the king and master and are thus trying to order me, this is also incorrect, because these positions are temporary. Today you are the king and I am your servant, but tomorrow the position may be changed and you may be my servant and I am master and I your master. These are temporary circumstances created by providence. My dear king, if you still think that you are the king and I am your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. I can then say that this differentiation is temporary and it expands only from usage or convention. I do not see any other cause. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the laws of material nature. Therefore, no one is master and no one is servant. Nonetheless, if you think that you are the master and that I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? My dear king, you have said, you rascal, you dull, crazy fellow, I am going to chastise you, and then you will come to your senses. In this regard, let me say that although I live like a dull, deaf, and dumb man, I am actually a self-realized person What will you gain by punishing me? If your calculation is true, and I am a madman, then your punishment will be like beating a dead horse. There will be no effect. When a madman is punished, he is not cured of his madness. Sukadeva Goswami said, "O Maharaj Parikshit, when King Rahugana chastised the exalted devotee Jad Bharat with harsh words, that peaceful, saintly person tolerated it all and replied properly. Nescience is due to the bodily concept, and Jad Bharat was not affected by this false conception. Out of his natural humility, he never considered himself a great devotee, and he agreed to suffer the results of his past karma. Like an ordinary man, he thought that by carrying the palanquin, he was destroying the reactions of his past misdeeds. Thinking in this way, he began to carry the palanquin as before." Sukadeva Goswami continued, "O best of the Pandu dynasty, Maharaj Parikshit, the king of the Sindhu and Sarvira states, Maharaj Rahugana, had great faith in discussions of the absolute truth. Being thus qualified, he heard from Jad Bharat that philosophical presentation which is approved by all scriptures on the mystic yoga process and which slackens the knot in the heart. His material conceptions of himself as a king was thus destroyed. He immediately descended from his palanquin and fell flat on the ground with his head at the lotus feet of Jad Bharat in such a way that he might be excused for his insulting words against the great Brahmana. He then prayed as follows." I don't know if we have time. What time is it? Oh, we still got time. Good. King Rahugana said, "O Brahmana, you appear to be moving in this world very much covered and unknown to others. Who are you? Are you a learned Brahmana and saintly person? I see that you are wearing a sacred thread. Are you one of those exalted, liberated saints such as Dattatreya and other highly advanced learned scholars? May I ask whose disciple you are? Where do you live? Why have you come to this place? Is your mission in coming here to do good for us? Please let me know who you are." I just thought of one thing here. It says, "May I ask whose disciple are you?" I've had people say you shouldn't ask somebody who their guru is. But here, right, King Rahugana is asking, who is your guru? So I don't know where people say this other thing. I mean, people who usually don't want to tell you because they're not part of ISKCON. You know, they're 20 years old and they're disciple of the guru's Prabhupada, Ritvix or something. But there's at least there's some proof right there. If you ever get that, somebody says that. "My dear sir, I am not at all afraid of the thunderbolt by King Indra, nor am I afraid of the serpentine piercing trident of Lord Shiva. I do not care about the punishment of Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, nor am I afraid of fire, scorching sun, moon, wind, nor the weapons of Kuvera. Yet I am afraid of offending a Brahmana. I am very much afraid of this." Wow. It's really nice. "My dear sir, it appears that the influence of your great spiritual knowledge is hidden. Factually, you are bereft of all material association and fully absorbed in the thought of the Supreme. Consequently, you are unlimitedly advanced in spiritual knowledge. Please tell me why you are wandering around like a dullard. O great saintly person, you have spoken words approved by the yogic process, but it is not possible for us to understand what you have said. Therefore, kindly explain it. I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic power. You know the spiritual science perfectly well." I'm thinking the other three carriers might say, "Well, why didn't we say that?" "I consider your good self the most exalted master of mystic yoga, it's kind of got some stuff. Oh, mystic power. You know the spiritual science perfectly well. You are the most exalted of all learned sages, and you have descended for the benefit of all human society. You have come to give spiritual knowledge, and you are a direct representative of Kapila Dev, the incarnation of God and the plenary portion of knowledge. I am therefore asking you, O spiritual master, what is the most secure shelter in this world? If it is not a fact that your good self is the direct representative of Kapila Dev, the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, to examine people and see who is actually a human being and who is not, you have presented yourself to be a deaf and dumb person. You are not moving this way upon the surface of the world. No, are you not moving this way upon the surface of the world? I am very attached to family life and worldly activities, and I am blind to spiritual knowledge. Nonetheless, I am now present before you and am seeking enlightenment from you. How can I advance in spiritual life? This is really, you have said, I am not fatigued from labor, although the soul is different from the body. There is fatigue because of bodily labor, and it appears to be the fatigue of the soul. When you are carrying the palanquin, there is certainly labor for the soul. This is my conjecture. You have also said that the external behavior exhibited between the master and the servant is not factual, but although in the phenomenal world it is not factual, the products of the phenomenal world can actually affect things. That is visible and experienced. As such, even though material activities are impermanent, they cannot be said to be untrue. Okay, so I'm not going to read. You get the idea. It's a really nice story. Everyone can read it wherever it is. Somebody wrote it down. Where it is. What canto is it?
Fifth canto,
Fifth.
10th chapter.
Fifth canto, 10th chapter. But it's a really nice story. But because Rahugana was also a great devotee, or he wouldn't know all of these things, and he understood exactly what Jud Bharat was saying. But Jud Bharat never said anything to anybody, but in this particular case, he decided to speak. You know, he's had to preach. And of course, that's so wonderful how the king gets out of his palanquin and does dandavats. You know how to do it. Offers dandavats right at his feet, be forgiven. Does Jud Bharat ever tell him why he was walking like that? I don't remember. Because he didn't want to step on the ants, we know. But I don't know if King Rahugana ever found that out. Not that that's important. Okay, so any questions? Yes.
So you mentioned that King Rahugana was an advanced devotee. Or I don't know who, but you mentioned.
Yeah.
I have a question that what are the symptoms of an advanced devotee? How one can know?
Well, one thing he knows because he knows the truth. When he hears the truth, that's like you got this guy that's a nobody, a nothing. He's carrying you around, and you're the king of a couple of kingdoms. And when you hear, somebody says something to you, criticizing you, you normally, that touches your false ego. But instead, he knew that was the truth. How did he know it was the truth? Unless he's a devotee, he knows the philosophy. He knew it was true. He also sees himself as attached, and but how would he meet Jud Bharat and get that opportunity to hear from him if he wasn't something special? He did something. So I'm not sure if it says he was a great devotee, but it seems like it because he behaved properly when he found out who this was. He didn't, normally a false ego, you just doesn't matter who the person is. It says something, you got, if you fight, you get back at him. But he gave up his false ego. He came off a pelican carrier, offered obeisance, and put his head on his feet.
Jai Thank you for coming. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay, so there's no other questions from the audience that isn't here? Oh, it's up there, you can see it, huh? Why is that big square there? It's just so you don't see me?
How many devotees are there online?
How many are online?
3.
Really? That many?
Just now, they dropped.
There was 5. I think we should do the programs here every night. And it should start at 6:30. People can watch Arti. And if they don't come, it's no loss, except, I mean, he has to come. Yeah, but you can just give class too. Yeah. I'd like to give class like every Wednesday here. But I think if we start at 6:30, it would be better. Okay, so I guess we offer our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada.
Devotees. I have a question.